ओके, सो दिस इज ये बुक है मेरे पास, उसमें मैं इससे पढ़ूंगा। आई थिंक बिफोर स्टार्टिंग मे बी वी कैन स्टार्ट विथ prayer for the Goswamis to come. No problem है इसमें, ठीक है। 8 prayers to the 6 Goswamis by Srimad Acharya. Krishna Kirtana Gan Tan Parao Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhir Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmatsaro Pujito Sri Chaitanya Kripakaro Vibhuva Varavahantaraso Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vicharanaik Nipuno Saddharma Samtapako लोकानामितकारुणैकभुवने मन्यौ शरण्यकरौ राधाकृष्णपदारविन्द भजने नन्देन मत्तालिकौ वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ श्रीगौराङ्गगुणानुवर्णनविधौ शतासंवृत्तियन्वितौ पापोत्तापनिकुन्तनौ तनुभितौ गोविन्दगानामृते आनन्दामर्दनकैर्निपुणौ निपुणौ कैवल्यनिस्तारिकौ वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ त्यक्त्वा तूर्णमशेषमण्डलपति श्रेणिं सदा तुच्छ्रवन् भूत्वा दीनगणेशकौ करुणया कौपीनकण्ठाश्रितौ गोपीभावरसामृताब्दलहरी कल्लोलमग्नौ मुहुः वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ कूजत कोकिलहंससारसगणा किरणे मयूराकुले नानारत्ननिभक्तमूलविटप श्रीयुक्तवृन्दावने राधाकृष्ण प्रभजतो जीवत्पदौ यौमुधा वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ संख्या पूर्वक नाम गान नति भी कालवशानि कृतो निद्राहार विहार काति विजितो चात्यंत दीनो च यो राधा कृष्ण स्मृतेर्मधुरिमा नंदेन सम्मोहितो वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्रीजीव गोपाल को राधा कुंड तटे कलिंद तनया तीरे चबंशी बटे प्रेमोन्माद वश्यद अशेष रसया ग्रस्तौ प्रमत्तौ सदा गायन्तौ च कदा हरे गुणवरम् भावाभितो मुदा वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्रीजीव गोपाल को हे राधे व्रज देवी के चललिते हे नंद सुनो कुता श्री गोवर्धन कल्प पद पतले कालिंदी वने कुता घोषं पावित सर्वतो व्रजपुरे हे दैव महाविह्वलो वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्रीजीव गोपाल को. Okay, I'll quickly read translation because it's important to know the meaning also. Nice to uh, sing this song of this six Goswami, Sadhu Goswami used to come. Yeah. Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami. These are the names of these six Goswamis, who are always engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and dancing. They are just like the ocean of love of God, and they are popular both with the gentle and with the ruffians, because they are not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone, and they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the concerned souls in the material universe. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami. We are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the six Goswamis, the names, who are very much enriched in understanding of Lord Chaitanya and who are thus expert in narrating his transcendental qualities. They can purify all conditioned souls from the reactions of their sinful activities by pouring upon them transcendental songs about Govinda. As such, they are very expert in increasing the limits of the ocean of transcendental bliss, and they are the saviors of the living entities from the devouring mouth of liberation. I offer my obeisances, respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who kicked off all association of aristocracy as insignificant. In order to deliver the poor conditioned souls, they accepted loincloths, treating themselves as pendicants, but they are always merged in the ecstatic ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna and bathe always and repeatedly in the waves of that ocean. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who were always engaged in worshipping Radha Krishna in the transcendental land of Vrindavan. where there are beautiful trees full of fruits and flowers which have under their roots all valuable jewels. The Goswamis are perfectly competent to bestow upon the living entities the greatest boon of the goal of life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who were engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down in a six scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilized their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered over eating and sleeping and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who were sometimes on the bank of the Radhakunda lake or the shores of Yamuna and sometimes at Vamsivat. They appeared just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love of Krishna, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies, and they were merged in ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who were chanting very loudly everywhere in Vrindavan, shouting, Queen of Vrindavan, Radharani, O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhan, or are you under the trees on the bank of the Yamuna? Where are you? These were the moods, their moods in executing Krishna consciousness. So, okay, just give me a second. Just give me a second. I'm coming. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna
Yes,
Prabhuji, you
sorry.
are audible.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandu Pranam.
Send it. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is an introduction to the book. So this is just kind of this will set the background why we are reading this, and we'll get to know the importance of reading about this six Goswamis. So we can start with this introduction. This is a book by one of Prabhupada's disciple. So okay, we'll start. For the last 100 years, technological advancement has afforded us many modern conveniences and advantages over the pre-industrial period. Man has harnessed the power of the atom. He hurls probes to photograph and map distant planets. He mines the ocean floor and continues to make significant breakthroughs in the fields of chemistry, physics, and natural biology. Man's technology is more advanced than he ever expected it to be. So obviously we can see from the first paragraph it is talking about how we have made so much of advancement in technology. So yet for every disease cured, a new one arises. But still, since we are dealing with so many problems and we are able to effectively solve the problem also, but with this curing of disease, there are new problems arising. So, and men and women and wonder aloud about their future in a world bristling with nuclear weaponry. While we patiently wait for destruction, humans live with vermin in major inner city areas and violent crime soars in once quiet neighborhoods. Yeah, we can practically see how we have so much of violence and crime. Even in, I mean, practically people live in fear. They don't know what's going to happen next. So, thus, while technology may have improved, we must admit that in many ways our quality of life has not. This is quite true. We have inadvertently replaced tranquility with technology. So, yeah, tranquility with technology. And we consistently look for a viable alternative. This is not to say that technology is necessarily some vicious fiend to be avoided at all cost. There are appropriate ways to make good use of technology, which can then become an asset for the aspiring spiritual seeker. This and other similar books, for instance, could not be printed or widely circulated without the use of modern technology. So yeah, there can be good use of technology as well. Like we are also using this technology only to connect here to Google Meet. So in fact, the greatest religious teachers have taught that other worldly pursuits can be fully realized while existing in the here and now, making full use of material nature. So here you can see this otherworldly means not of this world, obviously, as the word says. So that can be fully realized while existing in the here and now, making full use of material nature. So we can actually in, you make use of this material nature in which we are living. So all these things which we have at our disposal, we can make use of that to know about the otherworldly world also. When that can be also done. So here it is saying use but not abuse. So but what we are doing currently with the material world, we are abusing basically. We are whatever resources we have, we are abusing. We are not using it in a practical manner, which in an efficient way, but rather we are abusing it. So the great sages and prophets throughout history knew that abuse of material nature engenders a concomitant self-abuse. What goes around comes around. Action and reaction, cause and effect. Karma. Interesting. So we may think that this is material nature. This is just some inert matter, and they can't do anything. I mean, because we think like we are dealing with non-living entities, and the way it's there for us, and whatever way we want to use, we can use it. But the if we are abusing it, it's gonna come back to us. It's gonna yeah, backfire. So what goes around comes around. Action and reaction. That's why we see there are so many natural calamities, disturbances. All things are there. Tsunami and diseases, and so many things. So, contemporary society is a good example. The more advanced we get, the more we seem to exploit our environment, and we ourselves must suffer as a result. Obviously, who is going to suffer? We, only we are going to suffer of by this exploitation of environment. Thus, despite access to every modern amenity, we still experience a great void, a lack, a cavity that desperately needs to be filled. Huh. A substantial slice of life is missing. This can easily be attributed to our single minded and anxious pursuit of materialism or technology, which, which incidentally never accomplished its end, namely to make people happy. The net result is that many have decided to pursue spirituality in earnest, usher in the new age. So, because of this, uh, going and because of this advancement in technological field, and we have advanced too much, but still we can see that people are unhappy. And so, as an alternative, people are looking for something else because they see that they are not happy. So, yeah, so what happens next? So, while some writers and social critics considers consider man's reactionary quest for spiritual knowledge to be a positive outcome of a world gone mad with secular advancement, there is another school, and rightly so, that brings to light an inherent downside to the new age, enlightenment. We are now beset, they say, with a plethora of every conceivable kind of metaphysical, mystical mumbo jumbo. And the result is that the mind rejects spirituality in the same way that it initially rejected materialism. The point is that we are fried up with this materialism. Obviously, people are unhappy, and because of that, so many people turn towards spiritualism. But then they see there are uh, so many philosophies flowing around, as it is written here, plethora of every conceivable kind of metaphysical, mystical mumbo jumbo. So, because of that, they reject spirituality also. So, we have rejected materialism. Some people reject materialism, and then they reject spiritualism also. So you have a sort of cat and mouse game wherein one rejects material advancement for a spiritual life and then rejects spiritual life for the same kind of material advancement that one has rejected in the first place. This game goes on, the chase goes back and forth. The mind is sent reeling. As a result, the mass of people settle for a sort of placated material. तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि मटेरियली फ्राई हो गए तो अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, देन स्पिरिचुअलिटी एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं, बट स्पिरिचुअलिटी में बहुत सारे कॉन्सेप्ट फ्लो कर रहे हैं, कुछ बहुत वेग है, कुछ भी है, तो वो भी लोगों को वो भी सेटिस्फाई नहीं कर रहा है, देन उसको भी रिजेक्ट कर रहे हैं, एंड देन अगेन दे कम टू मटेरियलिज्म, देन अगेन, तो बेसिकली ये एक बैक बैक एंड फोर्थ चल रहा है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस क्या हो रहा है, लास्ट में क्या हो रहा है, एज अ रिजल्ट मास ऑफ पीपल सेटल फॉर अ sort of placated materialism. Placated means what you call. What is the meaning of placated? Kind of compromised, you can say. कि ठीक है, थोड़ा मटेरियलिज्म है, उसमें थोड़ा सा एलिमेंट्स डाल दो, थोड़ा गुडनेस का, स्पिरिचुअलिटी का, कि हाँ बीइंग नाइस और सो लाइक दैट, तो ऐसा चल रहा है, which we see uh, there sometimes people talk of spirituality without God, like that. So they want uh, like Prabhupada would say sometime, yeah, he has written in one article, he says, people want kingdom of God, but they do not want God. So they want all the good things, I mean, uh, which can be there for them for their to enjoy this life in a nicer way. So that's why they want to be good to others and to be nice to others. We can together we can enjoy. Like that, so many things they can come up with. So it's placated materialism. Any comments, question till now? Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Yes.
प्रभु जी, ये बात तो मतलब मुझे भी लगती थी स्पिरिचुअलिटी में आने से पहले कि मतलब यहाँ पे इतनी सारी फिलॉसफी है, सब लोग अपने को बताते हैं कि हम ही सही हैं, हम ही सही हैं, तो किसके ऊपर भरोसा किया जाए, किसके ऊपर नहीं किया जाए, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट। एंड अगर कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस जैसे कि अभी तो हम मतलब थोड़ा बहुत प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा बहुत जान गए कि हाँ दिस इज द जेन्युइन व्हाट वी कैन से ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट तो दूसरा वाला भी तो वही क्लेम कर सकता है ना कि नहीं हम भी जेन्युइन है, हमारा भी ये है, जैसे ईशा फाउंडेशन वाले या और भी सारे लोग, तो एक वो डिलेमा रह जाता है।
क्या डायलेमा रह जाता है, उसी को यहाँ पे एड्रेस किया है इन 6 क्वेश्चन में
ओके।
कि हाउ एक्चुअली स्पिरिचुअलिटी भी जो है, अगेन मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स ये पीपल टेक इट एज समथिंग मिस्टिक सेंटिमेंटलिज्म, और ये वो, देयर इज नो प्रॉपर फिलोसफी देयर, एंड दैट्स व्हाई पीपल से कि तुमको कुछ, मेनी टाइम्स पीपल से कि रिलीजन इज लाइक ओपियम फॉर, या थीइस्टिक लोग जो है उनके लिए वो ओपियम की तरह काम करता है। ओपियम, एज यू नो, ओपियम इज लाइक, यू कैन से ड्रग्स, और मतलब एक जस्ट काइंड ऑफ नशा है कि हाँ दे थिंक दैट या बाय टेकिंग दैट, वो रिलीजन वाला वो अपने लाइफ में ऐड करके दे कैन बी नाइसर। तो प्रॉपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है, प्रॉपर सही तरीके से प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं है स्पिरिचुअलिटी का कि क्या सही है क्या गलत है, भगवान कौन है, हम कौन है, मटेरियल वर्ल्ड क्या है। तो दैट्स वाई यहाँ पे जैसे आ रहा है कि द पीपल सेटल फॉर अ सॉर्ट ऑफ प्लिकेटेड मटेरियलिज्म, और ये बैक एंड फोर्थ चल रहा है। तो उस चीज को यहाँ पे आप फिर आगे हम पढ़ते हैं, दैट विल कम टू दैट। So such confusion was addressed 500 years ago by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Even Gaudiya Sampradaya, Vaishnava Sampradaya भी जो है, जहाँ पे लोगों को ऐसा लग रहा है कि people are just simply jumping and dancing on the tune of, they're singing something, they are jumping, they're just like bunch of emotional fools like that. They can be, I mean, judged from the outside. But yeah, we'll get to know what these 6 Goswamis has done. So such confusion was addressed 500 years ago by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Far from suggesting that one toss of one's hands in frustration, resigning one's fate to one of complacent materialism, they propounded a sensible doctrine of devotional practice that culminates in divine love. So they have given this sensible doctrine of devotional practice that culminates in divine love. So everybody is looking for love, but this love is not based on some uh, this love what they have giving. It is not something just some kind of opium or emotional which doesn't have any basis and no yeah. So as here it said, far from suggesting that one toss up one hands in frustration, resigning one's fate to one of complacent materialism, they propounded a sense of sensible doctrine of devotional practice. Scientific calculated procedure, sadhana bhakti, and mystical spontaneity, raganuga bhakti, both play a part in the Goswami's theology. So we have both sadhana bhakti and raganuga bhakti. So sadhana bhakti is like a calculated process, a defined process. Vidhi and Nished are there. Mhm. So that is sadhana bhakti, more of rules. And when you basically are very disciplined, in a disciplined way, you are doing your sadhana. and there is mystical spontaneity, Raganuga Bhakti. So both things are there. Mystical spontaneity means Raganuga Bhakti means you are spontaneously loving. Don't have to. You don't have to. Yeah. Uh, Follow so much of rules and regulations. You come to a stage where you can spontaneously have developed love for Krishna. That's the stage of Raganuga. So both play a part in the Goswami's theology. In their system, one does indeed throw up one's hands, but not in disappointment or resignation. Rather, one raises one's hands in glorification of the Supreme. So we raise our hands. So here these hands are not raised in uh, frustration, but rather in glorification of the Lord, surrender. But this glorification is not whimsical. Again, this point is important. This glorification is not whimsical. As you were saying, many organizations are there and they have many different kind of philosophy, Isha organization and other organizations, so many organizations. So this is not whimsical, but rather it is sensible. It is based on knowledge. So it is not a concocted or sentimental philosophy propounded by conditioned souls. Okay, this is not something propounded by some conditioned souls who have four defects, who doesn't know about reality, and they are giving so many theories or so this is not propounded by conditioned souls who have imperfect senses and the tendencies to be illusion, make mistakes and cheat. Rather, it is an exhaustive theistic process that is deeply rooted in a time-honored scriptural tradition having as its source ancient India's divinely inspired Vedic text. This immersion in bona fide scriptural commentary, so characteristic of the six Goswamis, can spare one the otherwise inevitable burden of faulty mental speculation and gross misconception. तो यही हो रहा है ना हमारे साथ यहाँ पे जैसे हमने पढ़ा अभी इसमें प्रेयर में भी यहाँ पे आ रहा था नाना शास्त्र विचार नैक निपुणौ सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानाम हितकारुणौ कारिणौ त्रिभुवने मन्यो शरण्यक राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद भजन नंदेन मत्तालिको वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्री I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principle for the benefit of all human beings. So they have scrutinizingly studied all revealed scriptures and then they are giving this eternal religious principle for the benefit of all humans. And thus they are honored all over the three worlds. And they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the moods of gopis and are engaged in transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. So, this is not coming out of some faulty mental speculation. We have this. We try to suppose we are conditioned and we जैसे आपने बोला कि there are so many things are flowing out there and we becomes burdened कि भाई क्या चल रहा है. There can be and we ourselves decide and like यहाँ पे जैसे cat and mouse game चल रहा था वो ऊपर जो हमने पढ़ा try हो गए and then we are looking for alternative and then again we see अरे यहाँ पे cheating चल रहा है वहाँ cheating चल रहा है ये कुछ और बोल रहे हैं वो कुछ बोल and then you leave everything all. So यहाँ पे इन्होंने जो दिया है it is depending on the basis of ancient revealed Vedic text उसको अच्छे से study करके. Thus, the six Goswamis sought not to invent some imaginative or novel interpretation of scripture, but rather to faithfully and clearly represent the original intent of the text itself. This was no easy task, for the Vedic scriptures represent the most vast storehouse of spiritual knowledge known to man, and the Goswamis had the laborious, if also the loving task of thoroughly analyzing the scriptures for the benefit of all spiritual seekers. So it's not just उनका इंटेंशन ऐसा नहीं है कि बस मुझे अपना स्कॉलरली जो है उनका वो प्रेजेंट करना है. They really want to do good for, they really want to, I mean, do something which can benefit all people, all spiritual seekers. So ऐसे यहाँ पे जैसे आ रहा है, they obviously एक तो वेदास जो है वास्ट है, और तो एक तो वास्ट है उसको स्टडी करना है, बट एट द सेम टाइम यहाँ पे लेबोरियस तो है, एट द सेम टाइम्स they had this loving task of thoroughly analyzing. So they did this through out of love. So that is important thing. That is not some just a scholarly presentation. It is based on love also. So their endeavor was explained by Srinivas Acharya, which I mean, we just read this song by Srinivas Acharya. In the second stanza of his Sri Sri Shraddha Goswami Astaka, a song in praise of the six Goswamis, he makes clear that their most important contribution was to scrutinizingly study all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principle for the benefit of all human beings. In other words, rather than contributing more speculative commentaries to an already confused religious world, they use logic and reason to scientifically analyze all existing religious scriptures. So, by reading their scriptures, and which actually Prabhupada, and we are seeing, I mean, Prabhupada is also giving that same knowledge only, and we can see how Prabhupada's presentation is lucid, and it doesn't confuse us. Otherwise, there are so many people, they'll come out with so many vague explanations. It will confuse you. So, yeah, they are using this logic and reason to scientifically analyze. I see so many times devotees discussing, I see sometimes in a forum where devotees are discussing some things, and I can see and how detailed explanation these Goswamis and the further acharyas have given on everything. Like so many things they have given. Like if you read Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Hari Bhakti Vilas, so many books are there, and so many detail and so many things are there in detail. So it's not that it's based on sentiment. So many logic and reasoning are also there. So the more we will read, the more you'll get to your क्या बोलते हैं वो faith जो है वो strong होगा, and more you'll be convinced. So they pass down in disciplic succession the conclusions of the predecessor teachers and the compilers of the Vedic text. In this way, they sought to alleviate the suffering of mankind. This is not very big. I think mostly very. I think it's going to be over. Yeah, one page only. I mean, if it's going too much of philosophy, too much of introduction is going. I'm just letting you know. So people are suffering due to want of knowledge. This is important line. People are suffering due to want of knowledge. So people want something. They want that. Uh, Obviously, that fulfillment, that satisfaction, that loving love, which is unfulfilled. But why they are suffering, why they are not satisfied, because that there is lack of knowledge. So this is clearly seen in the confusion that exists today, especially in secular Western countries. As stated previously, when one is materially exhausted, one generally turns to religion. But without proper guidance, the religious quest can also lead to confusion, and one then again takes shelter of the materialistic life that one knows so well. Recently मैं सुन रहा था इसका क्या नाम है अपने वो बहुत बड़े पर्सनालिटी हैं अभी के वर्ल्ड में क्या नाम है उनका बॉब नहीं, सॉरी, एलन मस्क, कि उसका मैं सुन रहा था कि वो भी एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम he was also going through some crisis in a sense कि वो भी पजल था, विभिन्न था, मतलब अपने यूथ में यंग था काफी था कि भाई क्या है वर्ल्ड, क्या है रियलिटी, एंड ही ऑल्सो रेड सो मेनी स्क्रिप्चर्स, सो मेनी, मतलब जो क्रिश्चियन वाले और जो जूस, मतलब बहुत सारे उसने पढ़े, बट वो ही वाज नॉट, वो सेटिस्फाई नहीं हुआ, एंड somehow he got to read some book of from some other person, and he, maybe after reading that he got convinced कि पता नहीं जो भी है, he's like kind of, obviously he became like agnostic, जो भी है I don't know, but then I think I should, he become convinced in the philosophy कि जो भी है I don't know सही क्या है, but I should be doing something which should help people on a large scale, ऐसा टाइप का। तो इसके लिए वो सोच रहा है कि वो वही मार्स चला जाएगा या फिर मून चला जाएगा, ऐसे ऐसे लोगों को इस तरह से हेल्प करेंगे। तो बेसिकली पीपल आर, I'm saying that people turn to religion, but they didn't repent. If they don't get their question answered, then there is confusion, and they, whatever they feel attracted to, whatever philosophy, they stick to that. But then we have to see कि अभी जैसे यहाँ पे वैदिक जो है, जो philosophy दिया जा रहा है, it's on a different platform altogether, that we can clearly see how it is different from so many other philosophies floating. So yeah, but the work of the Goswamis can save one from that back and forth dilemma so characteristic of today's society. When properly applied, their philosophy of Yukta Vairagya or practical renunciation solves the dichotomy between tranquility and technology. You see, we are not running away from technology. Prabhupada would say, let them create so many things. We devotees, and they're like, he would say, ajagar vritti, कि अजगर क्या करता है, वो जो भी छोटे मोटे चूहे वगैरह जो भी, मतलब वो बिल बना रहे हैं, एंड अजगर वो आके उधर जाके रहने लगते हैं, ऐसा ऐसा। तो लेट देम, हम आराम से यूज कर लेंगे, और जो भी उसका प्रॉपर यूज हो। So the Goswamis taught the proper utilization of material phenomena. That is, everything is meant to be used in the service of the absolute truth. The confidential. So basically, point is, obviously we also talk of renunciation, but we are not so obsessed with renunciation. We are not. We the aim is not to run away from this material world and get into some seclusion and practice austerity and all this. Ultimately, it's about understanding what is the nature of this world, what exactly everything is there. And yeah, so we are, I mean, these Goswami, the Acharya, they are giving you the essence, what exactly to do. So the confidential, detailed procedure of just how to do this was revealed by the six Goswamis. Before relishing the specifics of their philosophical system as well as the life and work of each, it would perhaps be useful to briefly outline the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared in West Bengal, India in the late 15th century. Sri Chaitanya was known by his followers as an esoteric descendant of Lord Krishna in the role of his own devotee. It was Sri Chaitanya himself who inspired the six Goswamis in their own spiritual quest, and so some hagiographical information with special attention to the specific situations in which he met each of the Goswamis for the first time must be considered indispensable to this study. So, तो ऑब्वियसली चैतन्य महाप्रभु कैसे उनसे मिले और उनकी लाइफ के बारे में ऑब्वियसली इस बुक में आएगा, चैतन्य महाप्रभु के बारे में ब्रीफ में दिया हुआ है। While volumes have been written on the subject of Mahaprabhu's life and times, we will proceed with a brief overview. Okay, with this we end the introduction. Any comments, question here? Hare Krishna. All good. Okay. So yeah, I will read something about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many of you must be knowing already something, even though you are knowing, still it's not bad to know it, then hear it again. Somebody doesn't know, then still obviously it's good to hear it. Okay, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. During a lunar eclipse in the winter of, now comes the story part, so it will be easy to really flowing, so we can relish. क्योंकि philosophy थोड़ा taxing हो जाता है. But again, as we said, as we read here, how they have presented all this spiritual knowledge systematically. It's not just sentiment. Just anyway, yeah, we'll read. During a lunar eclipse in the winter of AD 1486, the fortunate inhabitants of Navadvip, Mayapur, a small village in West Bengal, India, saw the birth of Vishwambhar Mishra. So Vishwambhar was his name. Uh, चैतन्य महाप्रभु का नेम विश्वम्भर रखा गया था. विश्वम्भर मीन्स who protects, provides, who basically maintains the whole world. Like Vishwambhar Mishra, later to be known as Sri Chaitanya. Traditional commentators have remarked that this winter birth had great symbolic meaning. Sri Chaitanya's system of yoga, which centered around chanting and dancing, the natural exuberance of the soul in communion with God, was especially recommended in the scriptures for the current age of Kali, the winter of the four cyclical ages that are enumerated in the Sanskrit Vedic literature of ancient India. तो यहाँ पे विंटर में उनका बर्थ हो रहा है, तो यहाँ पे आ रहा है कि winter is also kind of like we have this four cycles, like we must Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, Kali Yug. So it's the last. Winter is also last. So in the fourth cycle season जो होता है, so the winter of four cyclical ages that are enumerated in Sanskrit Vedic literature of ancient India. So these scriptures predicted that an incarnation of the absolute truth would descend, avatar, to teach the chanting of spiritual sound vibrations, mantra, meditation as a yogic science. When done congregationally, it is called Sankirtan. And when done as a private meditation, quietly and on prayer beats, it is called japa. Both forms of chanting, kirtan, were eventually taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and systematically expounded upon by the six Goswamis of Vrindavana. Having fulfilled the prophecy of scripture, which not only predicted his Sankirtan mission, but also specifically mentioned his parentage and some of his esoteric activities, Sri Chaitanya was gradually accepted as a dual manifestation of Radha and Krishna by his intimate followers. So यहाँ पे आ रहा है कि उनके संकीर्तन मिशन के बारे में तो ऑलरेडी प्रोफेसी दिया हुआ स्क्रिप्चर में. It also specifically mentioned his parentage and some of his esoteric activities. So that's and Sri Chaitanya, and he was accepted as a dual manifestation of Radha and Krishna by his intimate followers. In fact, Sri Chaitanya's most important biographers, such as Vrindavan Das Thakur, तो ये सब कुछ राइटर्स हैं और ये वैष्णव संप्रदाय में जिन्होंने उनके ऊपर बुक्स लिखी है, मतलब उनके लाइफ के ऊपर, उनके टीचिंग्स के ऊपर. जैसे वी हैव चैतन्य चरितामृत, आप लोग ने सबने सुना होगा, तो वैसे ही ये सब राइटर्स हैं जिन्होंने चैतन्य मंगल और भी कुछ कुछ बुक्स हैं, चैतन्य चरितावली, like that, so many different books they have written. So these writers are Vrindavan Das Thakur, Sri Murari Gupta, Lochan Das Thakur, especially Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, have pointed out both the female manifestation of God and the male manifestation, Srimati Radha and Shri Krishna, dance together in the one body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Through the agency of his six Goswamis, he taught the sweetness of this dancing to the rest of the world. So yeah, through the six Goswamis, only this teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually propagated. So, but before this was to occur, Sri Chaitanya distinguished himself as a scholar of unprecedented caliber. This was important. He and his followers anticipated that the chanting and dancing process might be ridiculed as mere sentiment or even hysteria, and for a time it was misconstrued in this way. So, yeah, we can see people sometimes say there's so many people outside they say like that. ये अरे यार जैसे वो कौन है उनका देखा था मैंने कौन है समाचार है कि कृष्णा ने भगवत गीता में कहाँ बोला है डांस करने को ये तुम लोग क्या है बैठ के वो फाइट करने बोल रहे हैं सम ग्रेव discussion going on, serious talk हो रहा है, and you guys are dancing. So he and his followers anticipated that the chanting and dancing process might be ridiculed as mere sentiment or even hysteria, and for a time it was misconstrued in this way. But Sri Chaitanya's own example of mature scholarship and that of the Goswamis after him was to eventually lay to rest all such unfounded speculation. Those who have taken the time to research the work of Sri Chaitanya and his six Goswamis have seen that these personalities were not mere sentimentalists. ये जो बुक भी है इनफैक्ट इसका जो फॉरवर्ड लिखा हुआ मैंने पढ़ा नहीं क्योंकि वो बहुत ज्यादा फिर हो जाता है वो आप लोग मैं शेयर कर दूंगा पढ़ सकते हो अगर किसी को टाइम मिले तो उसमें भी ये जो फॉरवर्ड लिखा है वो किसी वेस्टर्न बंदे ने लिखा है क्रिश्चियन कोई क्रिश्चियन ने लिखा है वो भी I mean, we know there are people out there, theologians who study all the religions in this world, and so he has given a foreword, and you can see from his foreword how this. I mean, he has also accepted this, how this is not just mere sentiments, and how they're actually this religion is actually based on some real substance. So, yeah. So So those who have taken the time to research the work of Sri Chaitanya and his six Goswamis have seen that these personalities were not mere sentimentalists. Devotion was counterbalanced by reason. So the accusation of some unwarranted fundamentalism or fanaticism just did not apply. In fact, Sri Chaitanya's fame as a scholar gradually took him to his ancestral village in East Bengal. तो चैतन्य महाप्रभु बांग्लादेश गए थे वो काफी स्कॉलरली थे he was Nimai Pandit, he was known as Nimai Pandit. So he went to Bangladesh, yeah, where a major development took place in his fledgling Sankirtan mission. It was here that he first disclosed his esoteric purpose in spreading his movement as the divine dispensation for the present age. This mercy was bestowed upon Tapan Mishra. So you can maybe if this name sounds unfamiliar, you can I mean gradually it will become familiar with the I mean as we proceed and the names come frequently, so we'll get to know will be yeah comfortable with these names. So this mercy was bestowed upon Tapan Mishra, a scholar who had sincerely searched for Sri Chaitanya to ask about the ultimate goal of life. Mishra was the first to hear directly from the master's lips that the prescribed yoga for the current epoch in world history is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. This process of chanting, said Sri Chaitanya, is both the means and the end of spiritual life. As we can see, when we are chanting, we can see that we are getting closer to Krishna. And it seems like, yeah, it is acting like a means to reach Krishna, reach God. But then when you become engrossed, it feels like, yeah, it is the process. I mean, it is like you're enjoying. So it's not like that when we are chanting, you achieve Krishna and then that ends there. No, even after achieving perfection, people can go on chanting. So that's why it's mentioned here. It is both the means and the end of spiritual life. Except for the benediction that he bestowed upon this scholar, Sri Chaitanya kept his mission confidential, at least until some years later after his initiation. तो यहाँ पे तपन मिश्रा को ये रिवील हुआ ये चीज उन्होंने बताया, बट दिस वाज this Sankirtan movement, this was not fully popularized. He did not fully popularize it. He kept his mission confidence at least until some years later after his initiation. So commentators have difficulty explaining why Sri Chaitanya chose to make an exception in this one case by revealing his mission to Tapan Mishra. Critics have ridiculed this action as premature, yet those who have faith in Sri Chaitanya see a divine plan in all of his activities. So there is obviously whatever he does, there must be some plan in that. So in fact, there are scholars of Chaitanyite Vaishnavism who propose that Sri Chaitanya instructed Tapan Mishra because Mishra, he was the father of Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, who eventually became one of the Sri Chaitanya's most important followers, one of the six Goswamis of Vrindavana. So this Tapan Mishra was connected with Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami out of the six Goswamis, uh, who eventually became one of the important followers. So all has some link actually. So for this reason, it is said Sri Chaitanya showed special mercy to Tapan Mishra. However, there is no textual evidence to suggest that Sri Chaitanya met Raghunath Bhatta Goswami at this time. Anyway, you can hold on to your whatever, if something is not getting clear with the as the story, we'll go ahead with the story. Things will be clear. So rather, it is said that he met the Goswami years later. He visited Benares, an Indian city well known as a center of impersonalistic and Mayavadi philosophy. तो यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है कि ये चैतन्य महाप्रभु जो है, ये जो गोस्वामी है रघुनाथ भट्ट गोस्वामी, इनको बनारस में बाद में मिलते हैं, विच वॉज बनारस जो था वाराणसी, वहाँ पे सन्यासी लोग थे और ऑब्वियसली लोग वैदिक फिलोसफी वैदिक कल्चर फॉलो करते थे, बट दे वर इम्पर्सनलिस्टिक मायावादी. वो लोग भगवान के साकार रूप को नहीं मानते, बट दे वर लाइक इम्पर्सनल अद्वैत, वो ज्यादा वहाँ पे ट्रेडिशन था. So these two traditional schools of thought, more monistic than theistic, were repugnant to Sri Chaitanya. तो ये जो school है, that school of thought which rejects this personal form of God as the supreme truth, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like. He was repugnant to this thing. So yet, he nonetheless asked Tapan Misra to settle in Benares, where these terrible Vedic heterodoxies are propounded. Sri Chaitanya felt that Mishra would be an important representative there, especially after revealing to him the secrets of his Sankirtan mission. So this is okay. Although Tapan Mishra wanted desperately to return to Navadvip and in this way remain with Sri Chaitanya, he sacrificed his own desire in order to carry out the will of the Lord. He did not, so he wanted to be with Chaitanya, but he did not do so because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want him to do so. He did, in fact, go to Benares, eventually playing an important role in the spreading of the Sankirtan movement. Thus, some say that Sri Chaitanya revealed his mission to Tapan Mishra because of the latter's sense of total sacrifice. So yeah, here it comes the point. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed his mission to Tapan Mishra because of the latter's sense of total sacrifice. Whatever the reason may be, it is known for certain that Sri Chaitanya revealed his Sankirtan mission for the first time in East Bengal. So actually, it's nice to know this. Actually, एक poem भी है अपना वैष्णव सॉन्ग उसमें भी आता है परंपरा जानो भाले मते कि one should try to know the disciplic succession nicely because that will help. Actually, that will build you more conviction, more faith ज़्यादा stronger because ultimately, as the question came up, and this question comes up many times that we are confused, we don't people become so as you know, get to know this, we are actually suffering, as said earlier, we are suffering because of want of knowledge. So by knowing about these personalities, these acharyas and their philosophies in a more mature way, that will obviously help us uh, strengthen our faith. So soon after this interaction with Tapan Mishra, Sri Chaitanya returned to his hometown, Navadvip. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tapan Mishra से मिलने के बाद, he went to hometown, Navadvip, East Bengal के बाद. So upon returning, he found that his first wife had died prematurely. He married at a young age. We all know that उनकी शादी भी हुई थी बहुत कम एज में, तो वो prematurely death हो गई थी उनकी. And his mother Sachi Devi specifically requested that he marry a second time. This he did, and Srimati Vishnu Priya proved to be an exemplary devotee and ideal wife. At this point, however, Sri Chaitanya's life was more intellectual than familial, and he opened a toll, a school for the study of Sanskrit grammar, polemics, and philosophical hermeneutics. As I said, he was Pandit, Nimai Pandit, he was very scholarly, and he was teaching to so many students also. So this chanting and dancing came later. The chanting and dancing for which he was soon to become so popular had not yet manifested in his day-to-day pastimes. So when he reached his 16th year, Sri Chaitanya experienced a vital transformation. After a pilgrimage to Gaya, where he was initiated into the 10-syllable Gopal mantra and the chanting of holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He returned to Navadvip in a god-minded state. He was now like a so he went to Gaya and he was initiated by Ishwar Puri and he got this mantra Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now he was now living like a live wire. His electrical devotion affecting everyone in proximity. Everyone seeing him was getting uh, affected by his devotion. One could feel his presence as he approached, and the contagious love he exuded had the peculiar effect of permeating the entire being of anyone who came into the contact with him. We see he made even the animals dance on this almond. So both stuffy intellectuals and armchair philosophers would uncharacteristically sing and dance if Sri Chaitanya crossed their path. Professional reciters of scriptures who were hardly faithful practitioners would easily be transformed into serious devotees by something as simple as his glance. So Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaur. So this we can see from his life how powerfully, just by merely by his glance, people would turn into a serious devotee. Businessmen and even kings would almost mystically cry in ecstasy by his mere touch. Sri Chaitanya's contagion of divine love cut through all social stratification and caste barriers. He and his followers, who by the time he returned to Navadvip were increasing by the hundreds, successfully established the Sankirtan movement of chanting and dancing as the prescribed method of God realization for the current day and age. तो नवद्वीप जब वापस आए हो तब तक वो गया गए obviously initiation हुए and by the time he returned to Navdeep and उनके जो followers थे they were increased by hundreds and they successfully established the Sankirtan movement of chanting and dancing as the prescribed method of God realization for this age. How much is left for this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It's quite some, so maybe we can stop here. It's already 8:10. Any comments here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam. Yeah, it's very nice to know that first it was given to Tapan Mishra, even in East Bengal. I never knew that there was in East Bengal this uh, thing had started actually by
Yeah.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But also it was a point earlier it was discussed that he gave to the six Goswamis individually
Mhm.
when he met them. Each individually he gave them different, I think, different instructions or different.
No, no, no,
No?
not different instruction. Obviously, instruction is same only, but principle, the Siddhanta is same only. Maybe different, mm, different instruction in the sense like कोई मान लो cooking कर रहा है, कोई book लिख रहा है. That can be there, but yeah, obviously they little bit of details में differences हो सकते हैं, but yeah, essence the same. Not that he was giving different philosophy to all.
Oh, okay. Because I do recollect in the start, he did meet them separately and he gave them each separately
या
the
सबके
way
साथ
to.
मीटिंग जो है अलग अलग टाइम पे अलग अलग मतलब एक ही साथ सबके साथ वो सबकी मीटिंग अलग अलग टाइम पे हुई मतलब उनके पहले कौन आया है बाद में कौन आया है वो सब भी दिया हुआ है किससे कहाँ पे मिले कैसे मिले वो सब भी आएगा एंड तो या
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks.
तो ओके विल एंड हियर और किसी को कुछ ऐड करना है कुछ कमेंट है क्वेश्चन है